So on table B, Arita made the first move, putting out a Grand Arbiter, but it got mortified. Didn't fight over the mortify. I don't know if that counts as a first move.
I gotta tell you, I was so excited about Grand Arbiter when I was practicing for this format.
Yeah.
But I was so disappointed because all Grand Arbiter really does is his job is to run into the middle of the town square and be killed by a sniper. He never lives. And
sounds like Terry So's Rakdos Auger Mages.
Very much like
That's one of my favorite stories from day one. And Terry So apparently showed up for play testing for the tournament and said, all right, the first rule is I'm playing 4 copies of my card. I don't care what else we're doing. I'm playing 4 copies of Rakdos Auger Mage. It's my invitational card. I'm running it. And he actually did really well. They put together a Rakdos deck, and he was 7-0'd the first day. The team had some struggles and wound up at 4-3, but Terry was playing well. He came to the very depressing realization, however, that the point of his card was to go out there and take a burn spell, clearing a path for Bobby. Bob Maher's invitational card, the Dark Confidant, was the real sauce in the deck.
Well, that's been the Arbiter. That's been my experience with the Arbiter. It's
Same kind of thing.
It's very disheartening. And what's interesting is that's good enough, right? That's the idea that it's going to take out a key removal spell, that you have to dedicate a whole removal spell to that card, makes it worthwhile. It was just disappointing for me because I wanted to play with the card and do all these fun things and build these strategies around it. But really all it was sucking up Lightning Helix's last gasps.
What's going on table C, I wonder? It's the Mitamura versus Saito. Mitamura's apparently down to 7. He was getting pinned down. Oh, but he congregated at dawn for 3 locks it on High Rocks. The dreaded triple elephant setup. Oh, and Maharu just castigated away Saito's Demon Fire, so Saito is down to just lands. And his Rakdos deck came out, dealt a bunch of damage, but if Mitamura manages to start putting those elephants down...
He can't deal 32, you think?
Probably not. This is actually very similar to the way Saito Gazius came through to this top 4. In the last round yesterday, Saito was playing the last game of the last match with top 4 on the line. Saito's opponent did exactly this play. He congregated for triple elephant. His opponent was at 7, I believe.
At 7.
Locks it on Hard Rock. Saito let it come into play, but then with the life gain on the stack, he played hit to deal the last 4 damage so he could finish him off with that a Seal of Fire and a Lightning Helix.
When you say it, it seems kind of obvious, but that is such an elegant play.
Yeah. I should have slow rolled it.
No, you shouldn't have slow rolled it at all. I mean, it's just so elegant because to allow the elephant to come into play so that you can deal the 4 with hit.
Right. So that but then
Lightning
being able
to finish
Seal
him
Fire
off
to get the last 5.
Yeah,
his opponent was at 9. He needed 9.
That's the kind of play you need to be able to make to be. Even the plays with Skeletal Vampire, where you play the Skeletal Vampire and then your opponent puts the Bat token effect on the stack,
Lightning Helix
and then Lightning Helixing it in response. Those are the kind of plays you need to be able to make on the PTQ level to get here, and you need to continue to be able to make them to do well.
I kind of like the way Kaji's playing this game, too. He's trying to attack. He's facing down double Helldozer. He's only on 7, and Morroy's about to take him to 6, where 1 Helldozer hit would be lethal. But he knows he can't just sit back all day. He's got Morroy, so he actually sending over Skeletal Vampire and a Bat token. And he leaves Morroy on defense. He actually doesn't mind losing Morroy in combat here. Morroy and Carving Caryatid playing D. Nakajima didn't even attack into it. He's playing Land Destruction, of course. Kind of a nice little play where Kaji's trying to set himself up to win even through those 2 Helldozers.
Kaji's going to be attritioned right out of this game, though. He's going to end up with 2 islands and a Signet before long. Although I guess he can just...
It doesn't need that long.
He actually only needs 3
power.
turns.
He needs 2 more. He's got 8 power worth of flyers on his side of the board.
Kaji's one of my favorite Japanese players. He's just phenomenal.
So these guys are playing best 2 out of 3 matches, and each match is best 2 out of 3 games. So no 3 out of 5, as you've seen other Pro Tours. We typically do 3 out of 5, but in the teams format, it's 2 out of 3, 2 out of 3s.
So this is going to be very different. Once a player on one of these teams loses or wins, it's going to be
hit, and the Signet gets the Signet.
It's going to be a very different look because we're going to see other players crowding into the shot. and
that'll be fun.
kibitzing over the shoulder of their. That's going to be a very unusual look.
And
for
then
a
here come
copy
the
of
two
Team.
Helldozers. Kaji block, makes the expected block. Carvey Carriated and Moroi both chump block. Kaji needs a good turn here. I mean, he can survive another turn by sitting on Vampire Bat. How much black mana does he have left? Nakajima has wisely been targeting all the black mana, trying to turn off the bat-making ability of the Skeletal Vampire.
Yeah, I don't see Kaji coming out of this.
And Kaji could have swung for one there. I don't know.
Gets in for one, and then he can block. He can
I don't know
sack
if that
it.
was worth it.
No, I don't think he wants to be able to block and get two bats.
Helldozer takes out another black mana.
Another non-basic. So really just Stone Rain for 3. No cost to your Helldozer. That's a really amazing synergy to watch. I mean, you're always going to be able to take out a land and still get an attack with a Helldozer in this format.
It's true. That's another way. We're talking about Skeletal Vampire having a breakout weekend. Helldozer has also been tremendous.
So he forced Kaji to commit to making 2 bats before combat by doing that because he had a float.
And then here's Civic Wayfinder. Kaji just scoops it up. He's not winning this game. He is losing double Helldozer. So game 1, the first game of the match, to Chikara Nakajima of D25. D25 hangs a W on the board in a game 1. We will now move over to the other tables and try to get a look at what's going on.
It's kind of interesting. We were talking about all the land destruction in Nakajima's deck. Hit and Run is actually a land destruction spell in this format, where it's going to mostly take out a Signet against. In most scenarios, it's really going to take out a Signet.
Mm-hmm.
There was kind of a criticism some people had of the card in playtesting, but if you've got a land destruction strategy, that seems perfectly acceptable.
Wow, we're on our cameras are on the way over to the match between Kazuya Minamura and Tomoharu Saito, and Minamura seems to have this totally under control. There's just one Legionnaire in play for Saito, the 2/2 flyer. He's facing Skeletal Vampire, token, locks it on Hierarch, locks it on Hierarch.
It's never a good sign when your Skynet Legionnaire is untapped.
Wow, Skeletal Vampire came off the top after he finally slogged through Hierarch. What was under the Hierarch from the Congregation of Dawn? A Skeletal Vampire.
So
Tomoharu Saito looks over, but I just cannot imagine how he comes back from this.
So Minamura, according to Keita, is considered a David Humphreys equivalent.
Really?
In Japan. Not necessarily for his magic skill, but he goes to university in Tokyo, which is the equivalent of MIT. He's considered one of the smartest minds on the Pro Tour.
Okay.
They think he's
he's
brilliant. He's I believe he's studying. No, I don't know what he's studying. I'm just gonna make a guess, and I don't want to get that.
You get that from Keita. Itamura with 9 life left.
But he's again another slightly older player. He's 26.
Mm-hmm.
Older than we've seen in some of these top 8s of late. Oh, there's
Rakdos Guildmage. What does that do to the board position?
Well, it lets him make another blocker.
Yeah, he's got 6 mana to work
But
with.
that still seems like
blocking is not the path to victory here for Tomoharu Saito.
attacking is not the path to victory, unfortunately, either.
Saito with the characteristic slapping himself in the face. Disconcerting the first couple times you see it.
And then
Saito will just be playing, and then he'll start to sense his mind wandering, and he'll just slap himself in the face as hard as he can.
Well, it's a team format. He can actually ask his teammates to slap him in the face.
I haven't seen that play.
Is that considered outside assistance? Would you get a warning for that? Touching your opponent's face? Touching your teammates. Touching your opponent's face is definitely a warning.
Well, yeah.
I can't imagine that there's... Looking at his deck, I can't imagine that there's anything that's going to get him out of this.
Yeah, I thought Rakdos was a pretty good call for the weekend. I saw a bunch of... There was not a tremendous number of Rakdos decks played, but as the tournament progressed, I started to see more and more of them on the top tables, including Saito's. He's got a little white too to get some Boros flavor added in for good measure, but Dark Confidant, Rakdos Guildmage, Lazolda,
The Zolda's
Demon
card
Fire.
that was I saw a lot early on in playtesting and just disappeared. It seemed too tricksy to get moving, but and Saito's the only person I've really seen play it all weekend.
I saw a couple